of Texas and Rio Grande Valley. Thank you. And the University of Texas and Rio Grande Valley. And we are in early childhood education, we know that there's a lot of things going on where we want to focus on play, and push down curriculum is kind of pushing play out of the classroom. So that's part of the reason why we're here tonight. So we are here with the Early Math Interest Forum with NAEYC. And can we tell a little bit more about that?
Sure, everyone. Hi, I'm Tony Galassini. I'm one of the co-lead facilitators for NACC's Early Math Interest Forum. And just to tell you a little bit about us, if you aren't a member, we're just really a group of educators who have a real strong interest in supporting early childhood educators around early mathematics all across the nation. Actually, some people are actually joining some of our virtual meetups coming from all around the world. And our mission is really promoting high quality mathematics learning experiences for kids birth through 8. So all the way from infant, toddler, through second grade. And we bring early childhood educators like yourself together to really discuss some of those big ideas in mathematics. We talk about ways to support family engagement with mathematics, strategies to promote positive math mindset, and the last couple of virtual meetups that we've had have been related to play in mathematics. So other than the virtual meetups, we also have virtual book clubs. We're finishing up our third one this month and starting another one in December, which we'll share with you. We post monthly on Hello with a Math Picture Book of the Month post. And then a lot of the Early Math Interest Forum facilitators come together and present at national conferences. Go ahead and change slides. So how do you join NACCE or the Early Math Interest Forum? We've got some links here. You can also join our Early Math Interest Forum listserv, and I'll drop these links in the chat in just a moment. And also follow us on social media where we're posting all of our upcoming events.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
And these are our two upcoming events. So we're finishing off a book club around embracing math, cultivating a mindset for exploring and learning. And we're having the author Deanna Pekaski McLennan with us, and this will be next week. And then in December, we are kicking off our third book club, and we're using the book Teaching STEM in the Preschool Classroom. And for our first meeting, we have all three co-authors, Alyssa Lange, Kim Brenneman, and Hajit Mano, who will be joining us as well. So we encourage you to go ahead and register now to attend these, and I'll drop all these links in the chat.
Someone like that's looks like the Embracing Math, the mathematical inquiry, that book. I wish that I could have been in on this one. This is like coming out. This new one that's coming in looks so enriching and fun. And like, I hope that everyone can join in. I'm going to be joining in too. So tonight we are talking about play and elementary math. And the guiding question that's going to be leading us through tonight is, what criteria might teachers use when selecting play experiences for K-3 mathematics lessons? The standards for teachers that we're going to be focused on tonight is from the NAEYC Professional Standards and Competencies, and it is 5C. We're going to be applying knowledge of pedagogy using early learning standards and other resources so that we can make those decisions to help our students learn. So really digging into standards tonight and focusing in on our practice. So right now, into the chat, I would like you to share one game that you played in your math class growing up that you remember and why it stuck out to you. So thinking back to your math classes growing up, what is a game that you played with your friends or on your own in math class that you remember, and why does it stand out to you? If you don't remember playing a math game, why do you think that is? Go ahead and pop your answer into the chat. Around the world with math facts, playing with the deck of cards, pre-timed tests, maybe as a game, card games. We like to play with the cards. Around the world. Oh no. Other kids have practiced the facts and then you didn't feel like you were supported. I'm so sorry that the teachers didn't help you do that. As an educator, you see the games in your math class. Not playing games in Catholic school wrote education, but you played board games and card games at home that helped you to feel supported. I love that. 2 lines of students with the teacher holding flashcards to see who could be the fastest. Oh, that was not a game and it was not fun. No, it doesn't sound fun at all. It does not sound supportive. It does not sound like anything anyone would want to do. Traditional school, no games. I can't remember any games from the 90s. No. Drill and skill, drill and skill, drill and skill. Who wants to do that? Is that fun? Do you learn? I mean, you do learn, but like, is that fun? A pretend grocery store. It was not a game, but it did have fun mathematical learning. Yes. Johnny, can you share how old you were? In second grade. Wow. You got to do that all the way to second grade. That's amazing. Because usually by first grade, they're like, cut the social dramatic play out and bring in the worksheets, right? That's everybody's favorite thing to do is bring in the worksheets. We gotta test these kids. So I love the fact that you were getting to do that all the way to second grade. That's amazing. Does anybody else have anything that they wanted to share about a game that you played in your math class that helped you to learn math? Or if you didn't, why you think that you don't remember playing it? Okay. So, growing up, we didn't have the same access to play that children do today. Thankfully, we have more. Not having space for games. Not having the space for games. We just got to get them in and we got to get them out. And the factory model for education, push them through, get them out of there. Unfortunately, has been the way that things run. And we're pushing for change in that. And we as educators are being the change. And that's why you're here. So thank you so much for being here tonight because you are powerful and you are having the opportunity right now to have that effect in your classroom. So, we have the chance here to talk about games with rules and how games with rules can make an impact. So, games with rules have the opportunity to get children to practice math skills and engage them deeply with the subject matter as opposed to a worksheet, right? We've seen worksheets and how they have the opportunity to do one skill, one time, one way. You do it once. 1 + 1 is 2. Can you do it again? No. You solved it once. Can you go back and erase it and do it again? Sure, but it's still the same problem. And is it fun? Is it engaging? Does it get your attention? No, no, no. And especially when, walking into kindergarten classrooms, we we, and older, obviously, but kindergarten classrooms, mm, we want kids to have fun. We want kids to play games because games help kids learn. So there was a beautiful book about using play through learning by Shumway. And they wrote that games, all about how games and mathematics go hand in hand. And so, one of the great pieces about this was talking about how when you have your games, you are able to bring out the math, the discrete learning, but you're doing it in a way that they are enjoying themselves. And the affective filter decreases, right? When the affective filter decreases, now the play can stick the learning to get to the child. Now the child is engaged. Now the child is remembering the facts because they're having fun. So, in my figure here, I have the photo of the game using dominoes, and the way that the game works is they would have dominoes that add up from 1 to 10, and this could be in a kindergarten or a first grade classroom, and they would have to do the addition first of all to figure out the sum, and then they would have to sort and park the car. If the domino is a car, they would have to park it in the car lot and get it into the right parking space. But wait, how is this a game? Well, there's two parking lots. So there's a couple of different ways that this can be used. And one way you can have the children have a race to see who can park the cars the fastest. But if your children aren't ready social emotionally, or if it's not a good match skill wise, then you can have it done as a cooperative game where I have blue cars and you have yellow cars, and now we have to figure out how do we get the blue dominoes. I have the only ones that I can work with are blue. So can you get me the ones on your side? Oh, you have it adds up to one? Thanks. Thanks for giving me those. Now I have that, and now I have mine. Okay, and yours are yellow. Okay, I have three. There's your yellow one. And now we are still building our parking lots, but now we're doing it in such a way that we are collaborating instead of having a competition. So, what's really fun about having games with rules is that you have the opportunity as the creator of your game that you can see the needs of your students and you can design your game in such a way that you can say, you know what? If this student sees this game and loses, the pieces are going to end up on the floor. And we're not ready for that today. So instead, let's continue to work on the fact that sometimes we lose and it's okay to lose. And in this moment, because it's about learning the math skill and not learning about losing, let's do a cooperative game for this game instead. So our next piece of information about games with rules is that children who play math games to review and practice showed stable improvements with their learning. So they compared students, Skiller Berner and Seitstein did a study, and they compared students who used drill and skill practice programs, and they compared students who used game-based programs. And the students who used the drill and skill practice programs performed lower than the students who played the games. Why is that? Because the game aspect was more fun and the game aspect was more engaging. So the game kept them engaged and they wanted to play again. So our next visual here is the Zap game. And the Zap game can be used for all sorts of discrete skills, but you can see here I have some subtraction, I have some multiplication and some division, and then some of the cards say Zap, or some of the tiles say Zap. And you can do any math facts that you want. You can put shapes, you can put colors. You might have seen Zap before. It's kind of a common game. And you pull them out until somebody gets zapped, and then you can work the game in multiple ways. So Zap is a game with rules that is fast paced. It keeps children engaged. It can be played cooperatively because you can play it with teams. It can be played competitively one-on-one, or it can be played in a group. So there are lots of different ways that we can use a game like Zap to reinforce the drill and skill of learning facts without simply, okay, flashcard, 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 flashcard. And play is an important part of learning mathematics, and it builds interest in mathematical thinking and learning. And that is pulled straight out of NACCE's DAP on mathematics. So we know that when we play, we learn. It works best for everyone to play. And our figure 3 here is roll to 100. And this one is for older students because I didn't want to leave out my second and third graders. So not only are they rolling to 100, but they're also representing the numbers in multiple ways. And what I really liked about this was that they have their dots so they know who's who, and they're rolling the dice. They are counting on to see what number they get next. And then not only are they recording what number they got, but then they are demonstrating another way to show that number. And so this could be first grade, second grade, but you can take this up to third grade, because then you can also say, can I get to this number by using a math fact of multiplication? Can I get to this number by, is this a multiplication fact? Is this oh my goodness. Can I have, when I'm, the word flew right out of my head, please forgive me. When I am multiplying at the end, when you add two numbers, you get the sum. When you multiply two numbers, you get, shout it out.
The product.
Product.
Thank you. Yes. So thank you. So here you can say, is this a product? And now I'm tying it in so that we're able to put things together. That way, or is this divisible by 2? Is this divisible by 3? Get those higher thinking questions out there. So we're not just doing the same old schmame old. It's a game, yes, but it's tailorable to all sorts of levels, which is really cool. So now we're going to do some thinking and some working. We're going to be asking ourselves, what are the developmental benefits of playing math games? And so we're going to be thinking into the cognitive, language, physical, and social emotional benefits of playing math games. And if your computer is fancy and can lead you to it via the QR code, you can use that. Or if not, I can pop it into the chat. So we're going to jump into Canva. And as we get here into Canva, this is a new technology for me. I used to use Jamboards a lot, and Jamboards are being discontinued. So, as we're jumping on, hopefully it will let all of us in. If it doesn't let you in, my deepest and sincerest apologies, but you will definitely be able to join us on the next activity. So, for right now, we are in the developmental benefits of playing math games, and I'm going to give you a very quick tutorial on how to use the tools. So I have sticky notes up in the top left corner. I have our title. If you want to move the board, you're going to click click with two. Now I can't remember. Hang on. There is a way to do this. See what I said about new technology. If you want to zoom in and out, you're going to go to the bottom and zoom in and out down at the bottom and to where it says page 1. And then to change your clicker to be able to move the board. You don't necessarily need to move the board around. You just need to be able to zoom in and out for right now. So, we're going to look first at cognitive skills. So if you want to join me looking at cognitive skills, we're going to come up for some inspiration on cognitive skills. So if you want to right click on one of those red sticky notes and copy it, then you can paste it anywhere on the top left quadrant. And as long as it's red, then we know that it's for cognitive. And go ahead and type in one thing that is a benefit for children that playing a math game helps them in their cognitive skills. And what's really fun about this is that I get to watch all the cool things that you're doing. If you're not on the Canva yourself and you're watching my screen, you get to see the magic happening in real time. So I'm going to zoom in and then I'm just going to shoot around the whiteboard here. So I see problem solving. It helps with reasoning skills. I see, I see 2 problem solving. Making observations. Numeracy skills. So we're learning about sequencing and logical pieces of how the sequencing piece goes. So first, second, third, this is how processes work. Making observations and asking questions based on those observations. I notice, I wonder. Yes, it's a great tie into science as well. Helping with executive functioning skills for sure. Especially if it's difficult to be able to learn that skill and you get stuck on it and then you get frustrated and then you have to like calm yourself. And yes, attention and memory, building number sense, logic and strategy, fluency. So those are a lot of cognitive skills that you have put down that students can gain just from that. Let's zoom over to language skills. Woo. Over in language skills, what language skills do students learn? Math vocabulary, more or less equal to the ability to reason and justify who's winning and how they know. Discussing strategies and justifying solutions. Using informal language for sure. Yes, we've got the Bix going on because wait, it was my turn. No, now it's your turn. So we're also learning it can definitely support our dual language learners because we have visual aids going on as well. We're learning collaboration. So we've got that turn taking and we are going back and forth with our language as we're turn taking. No, not everyone's talking at once. Okay, let's come down to physical. I'm glad this is working out. And thank you all for sharing your ideas. Motor skills, yes, definitely. How to keep the dice on the table. Can I get some claps for that? Fine motor skills again. Gross motor skills. Yes, because who says the game has to be at the table? Can we do it at the floor? Can we make it a giant whole body game? Manipulating the game pieces. Can we make it involve TPR? Now we're getting more ELL skills in there. All right. And then let's come over to social emotional skills. This is the big one. Everyone's always saying, how do we build social emotional skills into our day? How can we get those kids to build their social emotional skills? How do we keep the affective domain clear in our learning, in our teaching? Taking turns, comparison, connections to the real world, self-regulation. It's huge. It wasn't my turn, but I went anyway. And then my friend told me I skipped his turn. I'm so sorry, friend. Here, you can go now. Listening to other people, engaging around mathematical reasoning and not just focusing on winning and losing, because the game isn't just about winning and losing, it's also about learning. Negotiation, listening to other students, collaborating, learning how to lose. And it is very important that we do teach how to lose. And we don't have to make every game a winning and losing game. And we don't have to make every game a cooperative game. But we need to know our students and we need to be able to walk that fine line. Okay. I like how you said without crying. And we also have to help those children to learn how to lose without flipping the table. Because we do have those children as well. We have those children that have those very strong reactions to losing. Perseverance, yes. It looks like I'm gonna lose. Am I just gonna give up? Fine, I don't want to play anymore. Or am I gonna keep going? Am I gonna keep trying? Connections, confidence building. Yes. Everyone, look at this. Can you jump back to the main screen for me? Jump back to the Zoom. And look at what you've done. That is a lot of work that you've done in about 5 minutes. That's amazing. Beautiful. So now we're going to come back to the slideshow. And we're gonna come dig right back in because I'm going to get you talking about manipulatives. There are a ton of different math manipulatives out there. These are the ones that are commercially available. We know as educators that you can use anything as a math manipulative. Paper clips, rocks. We can measure, you can weigh sand. You can write in the dirt with a stick. You can use counting bears, you can use acorns, you can use watermelon seeds. As long as it is safe for the children to handle and possibly ingest, it is something that can be used as a manipulative and cost effective. You don't want to have to spend like $500 for one. So these, however, are manipulatives that are available for purchase. And if you are teaching in an elementary school classroom, you probably have a kit that is similar to this. So knowing what's available in your kit is super helpful because that way you can know what tools you have already in your toolkit. But the typical things that you will see in a primary classroom include counters and cubes. The cubes can be dice. They can also be counting cubes. We have clocks, rulers, base 10 blocks, play money, fraction pieces, 2D and or 3D shapes. And then we have spinners. Oh, and I mentioned dice and scales. And the scales that I'm talking about typically are balance scales because we want to learn about how to balance and learn about weight and mass, but also they help for balancing equations. So, as we're talking about building play experiences for K-3 math lessons, we also need to think about what kind of tools we have to be able to work with those things. With that being said, now I'm going to dig into the actual question. What are the inclusion questions that SNACY built into the DAP statement in 2002? Here they are. Does the play experience review content that has been previously taught? I don't want to be teaching new content as a game. It needs to be something that they already know how to do. Because if it's new content and a new concept, they can't win. They don't know how. The next question is, does the experience encourage exploration? Is it closed or open? It can be a closed concept game. It certainly can. But you need to consider that when you're building your game. And, you can have a mixture of those in your classroom. As students get older, you're probably going to see less exploration because there's going to be more of a focus on getting those facts memorized. But that doesn't mean you can't get exploration into your games. So as you're talking about volume, can you have a game where you have a water pouring station and then you build a game about the pouring and measuring the pouring? For sure, you absolutely can. There's nothing that says you're not allowed to encourage exploration in third grade. However, it's just keeping in mind what's needed for the child at the time. The next question is there room for the teacher to play and explore together with the child, or for multiple children to play at once? This is something you need to keep in mind because a lot of the time we use these games during centers, or we use them during RTI, or if you're in Florida, MTSS. And what's very important about this is I wanna put out there and be sneaky about this, put it out there that your RTI time doesn't have to be a discrete trial worksheet. It could be a game. You knew that, but I'm gonna say it again. Your RTI time can be fun. Your RTI time can certainly be skill practice that is enjoyable for the child. Because if the child is in second or third grade and they're like, oh man, I have to go do extra math practice now because my grade was low and now I'm in trouble with my mom. Oh my gosh. First of all, some of those children are that self-aware. And second of all, who wants to do that? That sounds so boring. We don't want to do that for our children. We want to make it fun and engaging. We want to make it, hey, come on and play a game with us. Cool. Of course, I'll come and play a game with you. I'm invited to play a game. It's exciting. And generally speaking, when my teacher invites me to play a game, I'm going to say yes. Now, talking about multiple children to play, you need to consider your centers. If you're using centers, how many children are in your center? And are you going to be playing with 2 groups, 3 groups, or 1 big group? So keeping that in mind too as you're playing. And then the last question is, does the game have a winner and a loser, or is the game cooperative? Now, these questions have been adapted by me, but they are pulled from NACCE. And what this question here at the bottom, winner and loser or cooperative, I've talked about that a couple of times tonight, but I do want to just reinforce that social emotional aspect for our students that struggle with self-regulation, that we keep them in mind as we're developing, and that we either are there with them to coach them if they have a game where they can lose, or we schedule around them chances where they can play in a way so that they are safe. Because when a child loses, it raises the affective filter. And children who have large reactions to that are not reacting big just because they lost. A lot of the time, they're reacting big because they don't feel safe. And we want them to know that they are safe. Their self-regulation goes out of the window. They go to the brainstem. We don't want them to get stuck there. We don't want them to have that dump of adrenaline and that big feeling and tears or anger and frustration and aggression, fight or flight. We want them to feel safe and supported. And we're not therapists by any means, but we're their teacher. So we guide them and we help with the self-regulation process. It's a very challenging job that we have, but we're built for it. We can do it. Next is the fun part. We have 17 minutes. That gives me a couple minutes to describe what we're going to do, and then you have a chance to play. And so we're going to talk about the case studies. And the case studies are scenarios, and they talk about students who are based on children who I actually have seen in my classrooms, and their struggles in the mathematical concepts. So this is Julian. He's a first grader who's struggling with the concept of more and fewer, greater and fewer, less and more, whatever words we're going to use. And so you can read about him. We have Khan, and she is from Vietnam, and she's struggling to count and say the numbers from 1 to 20. And because she's in kindergarten, a lot of states have a counting standard where they have to be able to count to whatever the number is. So that's something that we're going to work to encourage for her. Here we have Freddie, and he's a second grader, and he's struggling with place value, mixing up his hundreds and thousands. Jasmine's a first grader struggling to apply the amounts that each coin is worth in context. So she'll tell you that a nickel's 5 cents, but she can't tell you that 2 nickels equals a dime. Moses is a third grader struggling to memorize multiplication facts. And so when it comes time to solve a multiplication question, he's still drawing arrays. And the test is coming up and the teacher's feeling a lot of pressure. So how can we develop a game to help him? And then we have Melanie, and Melanie's in kindergarten and she's still struggling to recognize that a fraction has to be broken into 2 equal parts or 3 equal parts. So when she's asked to choose the circle that's cut in half, as long as it's 2 pieces, she says that those are halves, even if they're glaringly not equal parts. So those are the little gists and pieces of the students. So what you're going to do is, we'll have for you, you'll be broken down into a group with a breakout room. Then, as a group, you'll come here, you'll go to make a copy of the game scenarios so that you can write on it. As a group, you'll choose one person to be the writer. And then you will write in up to 3 standards from the Common Core State Standards that you would use to develop a math game. I chose the Common Core Standards because they are the most common standards that we have. You'll title your game, you'll choose the manipulatives that you'll use, and then you'll come up with the rules about how your game works. And then when everything is done, I have a folder for us to use, and our folder is going to be a repository for all of the games. It's called NACCE Elementary Math, and this folder is going to be shared with you. And so it's gonna have tonight's slides, it's gonna have the main copy, and then all of the games that you make. You're going to title your up here, the name of your game, and then everybody will have a copy of your game. So we're gonna have a collection of games that you can go in and have access to build into your toolbox. So that's the fun part. So we have about 12 minutes now. I'm going to go ahead and give you the access to the document. And also, if you need the Common Core standards for math, I'm gonna pop them into the chat as well. And then as soon as I'm done, if yep, we can pop into the breakout rooms and then you can get started. So there's the standards and we can get going. Starting to come back in. Some people are like, no, no, we don't want to come back yet. I understand that feeling. Let's see. Okay, welcome back, welcome back. So, how did it go? Can I get a couple people to shout out, how, like a 1 word reaction to the experience?
Becky, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm seeing emojis flying on some people's screens of hearts.
Oh, great. I'm I'm so glad. Yeah, I could not see that. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. Make and takes were always my favorite when I was in the classroom too. Like that's it's always great to be able to take something that you can use. So, what I would love for you to do then is I'm going to open up the folder. I'm going to share the folder with you, which is right here. Share the folder. And yes, I sing. I think it's fun that I get to sing to I sing when I'm working on my computer and then my students are like, "Dr. Becky, are you okay?" Yeah, I'm just singing. So we are just about done wrapping up here with our workshop for tonight. Variations more or less using Uno cards. Oh, that's super fun. And then you can Uno reverse your students. So, for tonight, what criteria are we going to be able to use when we're selecting our play experiences? Can some people share with me in the chat one criteria that you have reinforced in your knowledge? Thank you. But share in the chat one of the criteria that you have reinforced in your knowledge. Thank you so much for coming. Keeping social emotional learning and readiness in mind. Yes. Keeping a balance of competition and collaboration. Making exploratory games. Yes, because it doesn't always have to be closed-ended. Collaboration. Okay. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Here are the different references for the evening, and I hope that you enjoyed and that you have a good rest of your night.